Hey everybody, welcome to the Realm Roundtable, a podcast about all things Realm Royale. I'm your host, the Monty Mole. This is my co-host, Comp TV Lee. And tonight we're joined by Aero TTV himself. He's a really popular streamer in the Realm community, as well as a former top 500 Overwatch player. And he's been a local standout in the Realm community for his Hunter play, as well as winning some Realm community tournaments. So thanks for being here, dude.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm all for helping the community. That's why I started streaming.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so
that's awesome. Dude, I was hoping that we could get that sneak preview of your webcam before the webcam aired on the stream, but we still got that sexy pic down there, so that'll have to do for now.
That pic is just a better looking version of me. So I sent a picture of myself sort of in that pose to the artist, and that's what she drew. Although my eyes on stream look a little bit different than it kind of looks like the color is like see-through. My eyes are like hazel, so I don't know why they're teal on the stream, but
yeah,
catfish.
Dude, I doubt it, dude. We're just like building hype for whenever you do your cam reveal, because you know you're gonna have like 400 people like tune in for that cam reveal stream. You know we're looking for that, dude. So
oh man, yeah, I'm pumped for that. I'm excited,
man. Okay, well, let's just get into the discussion tonight. I appreciate everyone coming out and all the generous hosts and raids, and we're here to kind of talk about things that we're passionate about, because we're super passionate about Realm Royale, and that's why we do this podcast. So I don't know, let's just get into it. We had a lot happen this last week, and we have a lot happening in this game. There's been like so many things that we could literally talk an hour about. So we'll try and get through all of it tonight, and I want to respect everyone's time as well. But the first thing we want to talk about is obviously the patch. The big patch dropped last Wednesday, patch 14. We've been waiting for more content for like 2-3 months. We've been hyped on it, and now it's here. So we're going to do like a review of it and kind of just go through some stuff and just overall general thoughts. There's an outline there on the side, so you guys can kind of look at that as much as possible. That'll be our guide for tonight. But all right, well, let's just like get into it. What were you guys like anticipating for patch 14, and has it met expectations?
Comp, you can start.
What do you think, Comp?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I mean, I still keep missing my shot, so I don't know. The new patch didn't help as much as I thought it would. I'm so bad. I'm just kidding. I was so happy for it. I will say I'm not the best critic when it comes to especially content-related updates, because I tend to be more of an optimist in that regard. So I was thrilled. I love ninjas. I drop Jade every time I play. I get destroyed by Gentle every time if I'm Q sniping him. But so like that's all me. And the only thing I was disappointed in, and it's not even like real critique, but I saw the leaks of the Jade Tiger mount, and I was so sad when it wasn't in the
oh
match.
Man.
Oh really?
I think we can all tell by your room, Comp, that you dropped Jade, okay?
Yo, I dropped Jade. I'm in Jade right now. I'm live at Jade Palace.
You don't drop Jade, you live Jade.
I live Jade. Yeah. But yeah, I love the battle pass. I love the being able to grind something. Even just fun content, like, oh, I need to play like 3 more games so I can get that mount. Like that's the kind of grind that makes it really fun.
Yeah.
So
what about you, Aero? What were your initial thoughts?
When I first saw it, I was like, wow, Pirates vs. Ninjas, this is kind of a little bit cliche, all right? It's like, okay, we'll see. And then I saw the content. And honestly, phenomenal skins aside from the Hunter side of things. Okay,
yeah.
a little on the iffy side there, but as far as the Warrior skins go, Warrior, Mage, Assassin, they all look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm super hyped for the Wolf mount. All the content they added, it's very high quality, and it does look like they spent the amount of time they did on it. So
yeah.
We were like waiting in November and December, like, where's our content? And they're all like, dude, if you could only see the skin right now, So
exactly. Yeah, they were all like way ahead of us, and they're like, wow, like look at the game now. You guys just wait, okay?
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, good. I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, obviously, this patch is the battle pass in particular is what, 80? Is it 80 levels or 85?
80.
80.
So it is 15 levels more than the previous battle pass.
Yeah. So there's a lot to grind out of that. And all right, so anyone who knows me personally knows I'm super cheap. Okay, like I just am. I'm sorry, like I'm cheap. You know, like I work hard for the money that I make, but I'm really cheap when it comes to games, and so I've always like played free to play games. You know, and so when someone was like, "You should buy this battle pass," I was like okay, I don't really care. Like skins, you know, I've never like enjoyed that flair. I think it's cool, but for me, I've always been so cheap that I'm like, I just don't need it. You know.
Right.
I'd rather buy like eggs or something, you know, like eggs, cheese, milk, like, you know, I'm pragmatic.
Something to sit in.
Yeah, so I grinded the whole first battle pass and someone was like, "Dude, you should totally buy the battle pass and it's only $10." And I was like, okay, fine, you talked me into it. So I did it without even knowing that they gave you crowns inside the battle pass. Okay. So I bought the first battle pass and I got everything immediately because I had already grinded it out. And then I'm like, wow, I have enough crowns to already buy the second battle pass. So like you're essentially,
so nice.
Yeah. And I've played League of Legends for a long time and there's a lot of skins in League of Legends and a lot of stuff for that. And all of that is way more expensive. Some of those skins are way more expensive than the 40 plus skin, maybe not 40 plus, but the 20 plus skins that I'm getting from the first battle pass as well as the second one. So I was like, wow, that was so worth it. Like it was like a lot of value from high res in that battle pass. So
yeah, it's like Evil Tech says, you get your money back, like just playing the battle pass. It's such a good deal.
Yeah, absolutely. It's phenomenal. It's really, really good. So if you haven't bought the battle pass yet, I'd encourage you to buy it. Like it's cheap, and it has a huge value to it. So if you love all that shiny stuff, definitely get it. But
so technically, if you bought the first one, you bought all of the subsequent ones, right? If you complete them all, technically, if they keep the same pricing pattern.
I mean, I would think so.
So it's like the earlier you, yeah. If you don't spend your crowns, exactly, yeah. So
Yeah.
the earlier you buy them, the better, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
well, and the other thing that's just like super nice of them, and they definitely didn't have to do this, but it's kind of like a shout out to all the people that have been playing the game in the sorry state that it was for so long. Is when they did the nugget conversion 10-1, right? Like almost everyone that played got at least 1,000 crowns, right? Like most people, I'd say most people were probably in like the 6,000 to 10,000 nugget range, over the couple months that they had it out. And I think a lot of people just straight up got to have the battle pass straight away, which is a huge, very, very generous of Hi-Rez, considering what they could have done. So,
Well, I mean, if you think about it, there are a lot of other developers. It's a free-to-play game, and the way that they could approach it is very different. I like the battle pass approach, where it's like the more you play the game, the more you unlock for yourself, and all you have to do is buy it up front. And as other people have said in the past, they're just very generous with that, as opposed to having to buy each individual piece on its own. You know what I mean? Like, because in other games, you legitimately would have to pay like $5 per skin for each class. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're getting way more than that. Plus, they're giving you free crowns in that, and you're getting mounts. Like, it's insane. Like, it's literally insane what you get in this game versus what you get from like, comparative titles like World of Warcraft, League of Legends, whatever. You get way more. So that shocked me. That honestly shocked me. So from now on, I'm like legit. Like, this free-to-play game, you wouldn't have to spend a dime and you can still enjoy it to its fullest. But I encourage people to do that because it's very much worth it. So, and what, you spend $10 on like a burger at McDonald's. So, but anyway.
Not if you buy dollar menu.
See, Lee's on board, dude. He's cheap and pragmatic too. That's why we get along so well.
That mindset, like, I'm super cheap.
Yeah, me too, man. But all right, well, let's move on. Like, one of the first things when this came out, okay, I logged in, I checked it out, I downloaded it. One of the first things that shocked me with this patch was, like, obviously the Pirates vs. Ninja hype was real, new content was real, all the stuff that we were like getting sneak previews of was cool. I was super dope, excited for the talent tree system. But the things that I noticed immediately were like the audio visual updates that they made. I'm a graphic and web designer, so that kind of stuff really like sticks out to me like a sore thumb if it's bad. And I thought that the improvements they made were like really, really good. Did you guys notice some of those changes?
Oh, the sniper sound effect is so good.
Oh my gosh, man.
Oh,
Sniper
yeah.
sounds so good now.
Sniper is an entirely new weapon.
It literally feels like a completely new weapon.
Yeah. Like I don't know, like whenever they release that sound effect, I just like envisioned Dry Bear taking J Nash out into the woods with like an actual rifle and a microphone. You know what I mean? And then like, you know, Dry Bear being like, "Okay, J Nash, hold up the microphone right here." And then like them firing that and listening to that echo because it sounds so crisp. I'm like the first time I heard it, I was like, like I have to have that weapon. You know, it just sounded so crisp and so clean, like so good, you know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, even just swapping weapons now, you hear like the metal-y sound, which
Yes.
it makes it feel weightier when you're playing. Like you actually like feel the game more, like when you're not only the sniper reloading, but like switching weapons and all that. Just
It feels like
adds-
there's a purpose, right?
yeah.
yeah, it just
And-
feels very weighty. Yeah.
And like even the revolver, I don't know if you guys have felt that, like that
Yep.
sound. Oh,
Mhm.
it's so good.
Because it rattles like a weapon. When you pick it up,
Yeah.
it has that little like rattle, like you would hear bullets inside a chamber or something, you know? So,
Yep.
yeah. Did you guys notice that they shrunk the UI down a little bit?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially the text, like how many players were remaining. I was like, I felt like I had to squint. Like, not that it's bad, but they
Yeah.
definitely decreased a lot of this stuff.
Well, and it was like I heard people talking about green screens are difficult in this game because it covers up part of the UI. So I haven't seen like if that helps that or not at all, but that could potentially be one of the reasons why they did it.
That makes sense.
I also think it just makes it look cleaner. Like it just looks so much cleaner, just a little bit. I mean, maybe they shrunk it like 5 to 10%, maybe. So it just looks really good, like your health bars, your runes, all that stuff.
Even the animations, like when you apply an armor potion or you get hit or you're fresh out of a chicken, when your health and armor bar like slide, they have like a transition now instead of just.
Oh, nice.
It's almost a little weird at first, but I'm used to it now. But
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like a red outline where it used to be.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like a little flayed blinky type of thing that goes on.
What else did you guys notice? Anything else like stick out to you?
I loved how even though the catapults weren't done, they stuck catapult like the base
Like-
part foundations,
Like
around.
prepping it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
That's super important to games adding content because it eludes, right? There's a purpose for that. Like when I played Overwatch, right? Sorry to shout out another game. They did a lot of those things, and it received a lot of positive response. So I think it's a very good addition they're adding to the game. It gives some like background and anticipation for future patches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it builds hype for sure. Like, I'm stoked for that. I mean, we kind of knew that was coming. Like, they had sort of like talked about that before in the past, so we knew it was coming. But it definitely is like, well, this is actually happening. Like, you can see it. Like, I was pretty hyped for that. So, yeah, I'm excited to see that come out. Hopefully next patch, we'll see, I guess. But where are they? Because there's one at Lumber. Is there one outside Crossing on that hill?
There are several. So I've found one at Jade. I found one at Icehaven. I found one at Lumber.
Okay.
I think there's one at Crossing as well. They're all over the map. If I had to guess, I'd probably say there's maybe 8 to 10.
Okay.
But I'm not sure.
Is it kind of like biome to biome or something like that? Maybe.
Then there would only be 3, right? So or unless you mean like.
Well, like kind of major sections of each biome.
Yeah,
like-
I'd say like major section, not each forge, but like not each biome either. You know.
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I'm wondering like how you're going to like be received when you catapult. You know what I mean? Like, so you're gonna be like thrown across the map, right? Like, are you just gonna like land on the ground?
So
Or-
if I go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, is there gonna be like a net? Like, I don't know. I'm curious. Like, what do you guys think? Like, how's that gonna work?
If I had to imagine, right, I think what would happen is the catapult would just launch you back to where like the blimp height, and you could just
Yeah.
fall down again, like
Oh,
how you
gotcha.
normally do.
Okay, so you'll have like your falling animation. You'll do your like hero land thing, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it'll definitely shake up a lot of things. There will be catapult camping.
Catapult
just like
camping?
forge camping. Yeah.
Oh my.
It's gonna be interesting. So it'll shake up a few things. There will definitely be some huge strats it will change the pace of where you land. Because now, if you know a catapult's location on the edge of a map, you can land somewhere on the edge of the map for like a lot of loot or like a good spot to land, and then you can just catapult into a hot spot. You know? So there's going to be a lot more. It's gonna change the meta, I think.
Yeah, it's true.
That will drastically change the meta.
Yeah.
Because like honestly, meta is, when we talk about meta, we talk about like the gameplay in Realm Royale and kind of like the habits and the ways that the game like directs you and what becomes strong, So people are like, right now the meta is actually, that's interesting because we could talk about how patch 14 shifted the meta. What the meta was last patch is you would hot drop, try to get as many kills as you could, and then you would go forge early, right? And then try and get your weapons and snowball the game, which that shifted a little bit here. But with catapults, it would, like, that's totally going to change because you could hot drop in one location, take the catapult to another location, and potentially get like 15 kills in the first like 5 minutes of the game, right?
Right, yeah.
I mean, possibly. I'm just kind of like throwing ideas out there, but that could totally shift the meta in a very real way. So that's interesting. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Or what if your whole squad took the catapult?
Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? Your entire squad, you could land hotspot, right? Get a few kills, and then when things look shaky or you get the shards, you can catapult to the edge of the map or where the circle is, right? Yeah. And then get that. Like let's say you drop autumn fields in the south, right? And then the circle happens to like be the northern end of the map. You can now drop autumn fields, get a ton of shards, take the catapult to the northern end of the map, and not be behind the people that dropped, say, jade or that dropped fungal, right? Because they dropped closer to the circle. The circle advantage is no longer going to be a thing. Catapults are going to change that up.
And what's interesting too is like people are saying that in chat right now. I'm reading and it's saying like, will it cost shards to use a catapult? Because that's interesting too. Like maybe it will. I don't know. Like I'm not sure how that would work.
Like if someone dies on a catapult, will like the shards actually catapult?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or
NPCs. What if you're
NPCs like the Zeppelin captain dude who just whistles and dances?
What if you're like a chicken? Can you take the catapult as a chicken?
That'd be hilarious.
Like Chicken Run,
If you couldn't take the catapult as a chicken, I would be very sad. That would be very funny to see.
I want to fly as a chicken, right?
Yeah.
That would be dope. I'm excited for that.
That would be very, very fun.
Yeah. So, okay, let's keep moving on here because we got so much to talk about, but so catapults, like I was really excited for that audio visual update. I agree, dude. That was just really cool for them to leave that in. Anything else? I'm trying to think of any other audio visual updates. Obviously the new emotes and everything involved in all that is really cool. I saw some
new health UI.
Yeah, the new
armor UI.
Actually, that brings up a good thing. That's actually the one thing that I don't like. I like the tooltip that they have over weapons when you hover over it with your mouse, you can see how much damage it does. But like if you hit I and you see your current, weaponry that you have on right now, they changed the guns, right? Like your the weapons that you have to like a bar that's like certainly filled up. And I remember joking about this like in Hot 6 stream because they're like, how much damage does that weapon do? And if he had it equipped, and so he hit I, and they're like, oh, it does 2.5 inches of damage, because it's like, like you don't know, like you can't tell, like how much damage it does from that screen. So it's like if you have certain weapons on, I just wish they kept that consistent. That was one of the things that a change that I did not like. I thought it looked nice. Right?
Yeah, it looks kind of cool.
If they want to do the bar graph, they need to add values, right?
Just put some numbers
like,
or something.
The bar graphs are fine, but you need to have those numbers so you can strategize, so people can plan on the damage numbers.
Yeah.
That's just very, very integral to any sort of guessing about weapon damage.
And it's like a simple thing. Go ahead, Lee.
Oh, sorry. No, I was going to say another kind of annoying thing with the inventory, too, is like in order to swap, you have to try to find that little arrow in the bottom corner.
Oh.
Next to your weapons, because you used to be able to just click a big button that just said swap on it.
Yeah.
But like if for some reason I want to swap and I'm running, like I have to like awkwardly like try to find the little arrow.
Actually, Comp, it's super easy. You don't have to click the arrow. You can just left click the picture.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm an idiot.
No, you're good. You're good.
Hey, we're still figuring it all out.
Or you can right click the picture to drop. It's actually, I think it's better. Yeah.
Okay, then that's actually not bad if it's just the whole picture then. But the other thing too is at first it was kind of I didn't realize that you had to right click to drop stuff too. So like when we were I think it was when Monty and I were in one of our first games of the new patch, I was like, here, I'll give you armor pots. I don't know how to drop armor pots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? It's just right click, right? You just right click it and it drops everything.
Yeah, which makes sense now.
Yeah.
But at first it's kind of like,
and I do
like old people.
I do like that. I mean, I do like that it's just like,
yeah.
you know, right click and you can do that. It would be, what would be really interesting, I guess maybe they shouldn't do that because then you could accidentally do it. I was going to say from the main screen, but I think I prefer it the way it is now.
Yeah.
But
one change I'd like to see with the UI is when you do press I, and Giant brought this up to me, the UI sort of appears on the left-hand side. I think it'd be cool if there were a way to move it around. So if you wanted it in the middle of your screen, you could have it, or if you wanted it on the right, you could have it. Because a lot of people, especially because of the previous patches, they're used to that UI being on the top right, you know?
Yeah.
And now it's on the left, and it's screwing some people up for like having just quick swap weapons or quick drop weapons or whatever. So it might be a cool like quality of life improvement if they did that in the future. But
yeah,
that's just something
well spoken.
What's funny is like I noticed how many people that stream this game, how anal retentive they are, because as soon as they pick up a weapon, I see them swap it immediately.
Yep.
And I'm like,
I'm one of those people.
Yeah, and I just think it's funny because it's like, does that really matter to you? Like that it's in, I guess if people are using 1 and 2, right? Like if you're using 1 and 2 or you have different weapon, you know, bindings, then that makes sense. I never do that. I just use the swap. So to me, it's sort of like, it doesn't matter which weapon is in what slot because I'm just going to use my scroll wheel to swap anyway, you know?
Yeah.
But that's just funny. I just thought that was a funny quirk of these streamers out there that's like, holy smokes, like, okay. Like they're very, very particular about that, but I get it. Like I do get it. So
Monty has this amazing quality where I'll mention something and then like in some very short sequence after he'll just like talk about how stupid that thing is.
Like what? I don't know.
Because I was just saying how hard it was to swap weapons, and then you're like a couple minutes later, yeah, people who swap their weapons are so anal.
It's just funny because it never occurred to me that it's like, oh, I should have it in that, like the left slot instead of the right slot. Like it just never occurred to me because I'm like, oh, my character's holding this weapon. I'll just scroll and he swaps it, you know?
Well, yeah, and for me, like, so I do use 1 and 2, so there is like a mechanical purpose for swapping it. But I will say, just from like a headspace kind of thing, having your first weapon be your long range and your second one be your sort of like clean up DPS weapon, like the second slot, you just kind of pull out to finish a chicken real fast, or like for turning a corner, for shooting someone close range. Having that in that way, it just complements itself, if that makes sense. It's hard to put, but
other games do that by default as well,
right?
Like your secondary
feels right
are in the distance slot usually.
But I guess I'm anal retentive because of that. I don't know. It feels right, so I do it.
Well, then when we had Mouse on the stream, he and I had just played a game where I was like, "Oh man, I don't like plasma launchers," and he's like, "Oh, plasmas are the best." And then we're on the stream, and he's like, "Yeah, I was talking to someone who was like, I don't like plasma launchers," and I was like, "What's wrong with them? Plasma launchers are amazing." And I'm like, "That's me you're talking about, Monty."
Oh, I don't recall that. I don't recall that discussion at all. That's really funny though.
All good.
Yeah. Dude, but okay.
I actually enjoyed that quality of battery. It's very funny.
Okay, good. Like, it's not passive aggressive. It's literally just like not in this headspace. You know what I mean? Like, it just is like,
not at all, dude.
If I'm focusing on one thing, it's like in one ear and out the other. But yeah. Okay, sure. Here's a change that maybe we could bring up since you just brought up plasma launcher. I didn't even think about discussing this earlier. So they exclusively put neutral abilities like firebomb, barrier, plasma launcher, and I do think there's still a chance for them to drop class abilities as well, I believe, because I've seen firestone staffs and longbows and some other stuff out of the goblin as well as the airdrops. Yep. What do you guys think about that? I thought that was really interesting that they approached it that way, because it seemed like gold barriers were just dropping all the time last patch. and they're just very, very strong, especially in duos and squads. They're just very, very strong. I mean, they're even strong in solos as well. But
Oh, so you think barricades are not being dropped as frequently as last patch?
well, I don't know if I would say as frequently. I just feel like it was a little bit more of like objective based as opposed to just opening up a chest and all of a sudden you have this, really dominant ability in duels. Because I felt like at least early game I was seeing way more barricades.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was like my experience was like maybe I'm seeing more of them mid to late game now because people are actually getting goblins and airdrops. Whereas before it was like we would drop and within the first like 3 to 5 minutes I would see like 2 barricades because they were getting these gold barricades out of chests like randomly. So, but
Yeah, it's weird, right? So I think you're right. I think early game we are seeing fewer barricades because 4 barricades were kind of like a very rare item that you could just get from a random chest, just like a normal chest, or an item that you would just find from a goblin or whatever, right? And
yeah,
and a lot of people would have them early game just by sheer luck. Now you're right. You have to get the chests open. You have to get the goblin, and that typically doesn't happen until mid to late game. I think that's better in a way, but the way barricade handles right now, I feel that it either needs to be taken out of the game or adjusted.
Yeah.
With solos, duos, and squads, I think the best way to approach it, if they do want to keep the item in the game, I think they need to scale the HP it has based on the mode. So I think in squads, it can have more HP, and then duos, it can have a moderate amount, and solos, it can have low. Because when a solo person pops a barricade, and that barricade has, 3,000, 5,000 health, there's no way you're going to be able to break down that thing before they can shoot you, right? Or
Yeah.
kill you. So I think if they scaled it down, the other person would at least have a chance to shoot it down. Like, let's say the person behind the barricade would missed a few times, and the person in front of the barricade shot the barricade a few times. They'd still have a chance to take it down and then maybe get a few shots. But as it stands, it kind of just serves as a surprise factor. Like, ha, gotcha, I have cover. Now what are you going to do? You know what I mean? It just feels very cheesy.
especially if you're out in the open, right?
Yeah, if you're out in the open and you've given up cover and surprise barricade, it's like, oh, all right, you got me, dude. Guess
Yeah.
I'm dead.
Like you win. Like it's like
yeah.
the you win thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Paper
And you have
rock
a fire
scissors.
venom behind.
Yeah. Paper rock scissors dynamite.
Dynamite, exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I kind of agree with that sentiment that I don't know how well barricade fits. Like I think it's an interesting ability. I don't know. I don't know how it fits all that well. It's just very strong and kind of obnoxious. I would just say feels bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels bad cuz literally what's the only soft counter to it is firebomb right now.
If that, I'm not even sure. I haven't tested it. If firebomb still will
Leaks
go through.
I think it does.
Too.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to say firebomb still leaks through walls and through that stuff. I don't think they fix that. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that it still does right now.
But other than that, I actually don't like the fact that barricade seems more common mid to late game now because of the drops. From what I've seen, almost every gold drop or goblin has a barricade, and it's a gold one. It's not a purple.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan personally.
Yeah, me neither. I'm with you on that for sure.
I thought like the one good thing I thought though with the changes to the drops and the goblins is they seem to be more predictable. For instance, like I feel like every drop I have has a gold turret in it.
Yeah.
And or a gold shielding potion, so it's kind of like, oh, I guess those are kind of like free shards.
Yeah.
But
like gold shielding
it's kinda
potion.
cool.
I remember when that first dropped, I'm like, is this a thing? Like what is
Yeah.
what is this? Like why would I ever drop something for a gold shielding potion?
Yeah, those are
It's
just
amazing.
insta shards, man. They're just like they're kind of those presents you get at Christmas that you're like, oh yay, socks. Or
yeah, exactly.
You know, it's like, sure, I'll take it. It's something, but I'm just gonna probably never use this.
Yeah.
It makes me less tempted to like, which I don't know if that's a good thing, but for me, it's kind of like, oh, I don't feel quite as tempted to get this because I know if I kill this goblin, it might have a rune I want, but it also will definitely have a gold shielding potion or something like that. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. It's
Right.
just sad because the turret's so bad. Like it's like not a good ability. So it's like, gold shielding potion, turret, barrier.
Turret's fun against console players.
Yeah, well, it's like a meme thing, but it is fun. Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree. It's garbage.
Yeah, it's
lackluster for sure. But the thing is me saying it's lackluster is not a cry out telling Hi-Rez to buff the turret. Please do not buff the turret. We don't want a buff turret.
Like, if there's gonna be a turret, I would prefer for it to be a weaker ability. Like, just straight up. It would be super fun in squads though. I really want to get somebody together and do like a squad full of warriors with all swords and all turrets. Like, I don't know, like just like
barrier.
Yeah, just like meme games. That'd be so much fun. So, and even plasma launcher. Like, I thought it was interesting. I think plasma launcher is potentially viable in squads right now. Because you got splash damage. It also has fire, the chance to get fire or an elemental attached to it.
Right.
So with it, I don't know. Like, I just had never thought about that. I don't know how viable, but I think it potentially could be viable in a situation where you're doing 800 damage plus splash damage in a house. Like, that could, through a window, could be decent. I don't know.
Well, absolutely. But here's the thing, Monty. Your head's in the right place, but counterpoint, Frost Staff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
that's
how they
true.
changed it to be kind of like, I see people go, oh, Stone Staff? No, I'm going to take the Frost Staff now. And it's like, oh, this seems so backwards.
Yeah.
No, Frost Staff, we played in the tournament. Giant luckily had the Frost Staff perk. And oh my goodness.
Yeah,
that thing
nasty.
Shreds. It is extremely powerful in squads.
Yeah. You grind, you win, dude. That's how it is.
Pay to win. Or play to win.
Play to win. Yeah. But it does shred. I mean, what is it? It's 30% AoE
and
damage. Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, it's broken. Like, it's, from what we've seen so far, it's definitely broken.
Yes.
Because you can literally shoot people from around trees. So if you see them standing behind a tree, you shoot to either side of the tree and you're going to hit them for at least 200 damage, right?
Yeah. If not more. It should be around 400.
Yeah.
Dude, if you want to talk trees, though, I've been getting shot from directly behind trees, like, constantly.
Yeah. Honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I have too.
Especially
So-
that tree outside of the Forge at Crossing. Like, I've been shot literally straight through the tree.
Okay, so I've run into this issue. I think it's a very strange thing. So do you run low settings when you play?
Yes. Is
Okay.
that why?
No. Well, yes, but I just figured it out last patch. There are some trees, if you run low settings, they can collide. You can walk through them. They appear to be fuller, but you can actually, if someone has a higher graphic setting, they're smaller. So the trunks, you actually do get shot through the trees. You need to check. If you can walk through the tree, then that tree's actually not really there.
Yeah.
Dude, my mind is blown.
Yeah, dude.
I've never heard that, because that's crazy though. I do believe you. I just had never heard that because I was assuming that they had reverted it back and it was a hitbox issue. But that's potentially could be it too, That's crazy.
Yes.
I've never heard that.
It's not every tree. It's very occasional, but there are a few trees. The one I discovered it on was an Ice Haven tree, sort of like the northeast of the Forge. So,
Yeah. I've got shot through rocks though too, so that's kind of weird. I got sniped through a rock.
well then that's I have no idea with that one.
Which feels real bad.
Is there people cheating? Are there people cheating this patch? I wonder.
I don't know.
Because of the influx of newer players. I don't know if that's a thing.
I mean, they had the cheat bot on last patch where it would like catch your lobby and you would all of a sudden go back and have to requeue, right?
Yeah, that's what I noticed as well.
Is that confirmed, or is that just was that just something that people were saying? Because we'd be in a lobby. What I'm describing, chat, is essentially we'd be in a lobby and it wouldn't just like bug out and the game would crash or something. Like the whole lobby would just disperse and you would land back at the queue screen. Like, and we thought it was just cheat bot. Was that a thing? Do you guys know? Does anyone know?
Servers
I
are
don't
down? No.
Oh, servers just went down?
Servers went down?
Oh, really? Rip.
Sorry, that
do
was
not
a
know.
total bummer. Sorry, I interjected that.
No, that's okay. That is a bummer. I wonder what happened. I wonder if something went wrong with the latest patch. That's weird.
Maybe they were listening and they heard me say I got shot through a tree and they're like, hot fix right now.
Yeah, dude. They're on top of their stuff right now.
No, okay, let's talk about that, all right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Hi-Rez. Thank you.
Hi-Rez.
Thank
Claps
you.
in the chat. Clap in chat.
Thank you, Jay Nash. Thank you, Dry Bear. Whoever it is over there that is like on top of this stuff, you deserve a raise, because for the longest time we've been dealing with bugs, all right? And now all of a sudden you're fixing them like right away. So thank you. But
Instant heroes. And they're fixing the ones that matter.
yeah. Okay, so like that's a huge positive. Like that's a huge good thing that is coming out this patch is we're this new year we're seeing a shift in priorities at least. And maybe it wasn't. Maybe they just were building a foundation last year. So I don't want to like be too quick to be critical of Hi-Rez because I'm not a game developer, so I don't know what all goes into it. But it seemed like we were waiting a long time for stuff to get fixed in December and November when everyone was like, please nerf Venom Pistol for the love of God. Please nerf Venom Pistol. Like we were just like forever like just crying like fix this game, right? And then when the new year hit and they released this patch, it was like, what's broken? Venom Pistol's broken. 10% nerf, you know, like right away, as well as some other stuff that happened literally within a couple days of the patch being released.
Chicken speed. Lambo chickens.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Well, and what's crazy is the Venom Pistol, even with the 10% nerf right now, is still a top tier weapon.
Yeah,
it's still doing
It's
this.
not. It's not like a really bad weapon that's in the ground now. Like
No.
It's up. It's very high up there on the list for me.
So since its release, now obviously things shifted with patch 14 a little bit because they did kind of smash some things and change DPS on weapons. But since the release of the Venom Pistol, it's been nerfed 20%. So
Wow.
they did an initial 5% in December, and then they did another 5% with patch 14 release, and then they did a following 10% and adjusted the initial burst of damage that it did. And so it's been nerfed 20% since its release, and it's still like viable. Like, and I think it's in a good place right now. What do you guys think? From what I've seen.
Well, you got to take into account the toxicology talent, which boosts it by 30% once it starts doing damage on an opponent.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess that's a wash at that point.
Yeah, I think what it needs to happen is I think the talents for those specific talents need to be nerfed, but to maybe like 15 to 10% damage increase for all taken, because as it stands, that's extremely powerful in squads. Like it is insane. So the issue is if you take that talent and it's I think what where their head was, is the base talent gives you a 20% increase on the Venom Pistol, and they're like, okay, well we want to make a Venom Pistol perk that's better than that one, right? So let's make it 30%. But making it 30% on all damage accrued, not just your Venom Pistol, that's a little much.
Yeah. Does that stack with pincushion?
I believe it does.
That's why,
Oh
dude,
my
I wanted to do
gosh.
that. I was like, that's what I want to do after this, Lee, is I want to
We'll do
go
it
in.
tonight.
Yeah, I want to do this tonight. If servers are back up, I want to go in and try and stack pincushion with toxicology and see if we could just melt some people. So
I'm down.
Yeah.
But I think if they change that to 15%, because that would only be a 5% like nerf in damage if you're alone, but like in duos or squads, you're giving your partner or teammates like 15% increased damage. That would be probably a pretty good balance, I'd say, if I had to guess. But 30% is just wild.
Yeah, it's kind of nutty. So hopefully they get on that stuff too. And I do want to like commend them, because I think the approach that they're doing right now, and this is what I'm hoping, I'm just predicting here, I don't actually know any of this information, but my hope is that with this latest patch release, we have this whole new talent tree. They totally changed weapons, right? With the DPS changes. Like they totally shifted this whole game completely. Obviously the cooldowns were all increased. Here's the tricky part. We've only had like a week to adapt to it. And I sort of have like, if you're in management or if you've, worked for an employer before, you can give a raise, you can't take a raise away. You know what I mean? Like, so once you give somebody a feeling of how the game is, it's difficult to then just remove that. So this is what I'm saying. We have long cooldowns now, which we're going to get in the cooldown discussion later, but we have long cooldowns now. If they start incrementally lowering it, the game is going to feel more and more like what we want, as opposed to starting out with way too short cooldowns that are way too
Yeah.
spammy, and then them incrementally raising them, and the game feels worse and worse the more you play. So
Yup.
I'm hoping that's kind of the approach that they're doing. I don't know that, but I'm hoping that's what they're thinking, is like, let's play this conservatively so that we can give the player base something that feels right. This is our initial guess, you know, and let's err on the side of making the game feel better later on, not feel worse later on. So
And touching on that in particular with the talent tree and cooldowns, I think the issue is some of the talents are too strong
Yeah.
with the cooldowns. So like if you lower the cooldowns, let's say on dodge roll, right? Exaction does 30% more damage for 3 seconds after your dodge roll.
yeah.
Now if you lower that dodge roll cooldown, I think gold with a cooldown rune currently is 10 seconds, and then without cooldown rune it's 20 seconds. If you lower that to 15 and like 7.5, that would be absolutely broken, right? So
Yes.
if they do lower the cooldowns, damage numbers and buffs in the talent system are going to need like changing. Like you have to balance it around that. You can't just, you know, lower the cooldowns and then leave the talents, because right now it would be chaos. Like right now the talents are already strong and we have high cooldowns. So
Yeah. Because they start out at 20 seconds, right? Like most of the class abilities are 20 seconds. And then with a bit, like you said, with ability cooldown, or if you spec into it, they can get as low as 10, correct?
well, that's with gold dodge roll. I think
Yeah.
dodge roll's an exception. I think dodge roll's like the lowest cooldown out of all the movements.
Yeah.
So others are higher than that. I think they're like 25 to 30.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah. So that's, I mean, because they introduced this new system, there's just so much that was impacted. Like, personally, I think it's a little risky for them to implement things that are damage based off of the talents. Like you said, like increased damage after each movement ability. Like that's sort of a risky approach to the talent tree, in my opinion.
Right.
I sort of wish that maybe they just did it a little bit simpler, but I understand. I think it's kind of a cool idea. I just don't know if it's easily balanced. You know what I mean? Because you've got so many variables all of a sudden where you have ability cooldown rune, which is insane. It's 50% cooldown. Like what? Like that's kind of insane. Like my wish is that they would simplify some of this stuff for themselves so it makes it easier to balance, because then when you know something is broken, like for somebody to have a 20-second cooldown and for somebody to have a 10-second cooldown, like that's such a drastic range, you know?
absolutely.
So I don't know. I hope that obviously the whole community right now is upset about cooldowns, and I think that it's very viable. So hopefully they're listening, and hopefully we get to see some adjustment in that soon. I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
Well, and like you said, I mean, it's better. It's better they do it this way.
Yeah.
Ripping off the Band-Aid now is better than, you know, several, let's say, paper cut to death with lemon juice, right?
Yeah.
over time. So I see what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of insane, man. It's there's just so much to unpack here. Like I literally haven't even been able to unpack all of the talents and some of the classes yet.
Right.
Is there anything you guys have seen that's been like completely busted in the talents? Like what do you guys think is the most busted build right now?
It's between, well, for me, what I've seen, there are two really dominant builds, and it's for mage and hunter. The hunter build, if you go all in on bow, the bow is absolutely insane. Like with the recurve buff, you're giving up your crossbow and arbalest extra damage, but you're essentially getting a weapon damage rune on your bow at all times.
Ooh,
So
that
Yeah.
feels good.
it feels phenomenal for the hunter, but I think the damage definitely is too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with the other build is the ice staff build on mage.
Yeah.
It feels extremely forgiving in that mages have now like the best mobility in the game because they have an immediate fight reset with Soar. In addition to having an extremely powerful forgiving weapon, the ice staff, which at gold rarity and the ice staff buff does about 1,000 damage per hit, slows them, and has a massive AoE.
Yeah.
So you can miss and still get immense value and just line up the next shot. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna aim in your general direction, and you're gonna be slowed.
Yeah, it's a 909 damage. Thank you. Now, my fault. But it is absolutely busted as well.
Yeah.
So bow and frost staff definitely need some changes. There are a lot of other weapons I'm not mentioning yet. We'll probably get to them, but they definitely need nerfs as well, in my opinion.
Yeah. What about you, Lee? What did you experience?
My main critique is that some of the talents, which I'm sure they're going to get adjusted, I would doubt that they would keep, especially since it's beta, that they would keep talents the way they are now. Especially because as an assassin main, the couple things that ticked me off were that warriors could forge their axe at level 7. And assassins have to wait till they're level 27 to forge a sniper, like guarantee forge.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a huge, like, because axes, which we'll probably talk about later, are like the warrior's like preferred weapon usually. And so I just kind of felt unfair, especially considering like some of the other talents were like increased headshot damage for the sniper, where like if you can get a weapon damage rune basically out of your talents on a hunter, but then on an assassin the most you can do is get like headshot damage, it feels like you're getting robbed a little bit. But I don't know if they're trying to do that intentionally to make assassin the higher skill ceiling class to pick, because I guess if you can consistently hit headshots, I don't know. But anyways, that was my main critique in terms of the talents.
So we talked about ice staff, we talked about longbow. I think everyone's in agreement with that. Warrior fire axe, I hadn't actually run into that issue yet because I don't think a ton of people are playing warrior this patch, which is shocking. I haven't seen a lot of warriors, and I think it has to do with the gameplay change, like in how the gameplay has kind of shifted a little bit from, instead of just being able to run around spamming your abilities, you have to hold your cooldowns, and so mid to close range fights are a little bit trickier to navigate. You can still pull them off, especially as a mage, but I think it's more difficult on a warrior. What I have noticed that was super cool to see today is the first time I ever saw it. Did you guys see Thor running net shot charge sword?
No.
Okay.
Oh man.
So there's like apparent, and I haven't explored this, so I maybe chat help me out here a little bit. Okay. So there, like, how net shot has a snare now where you snare them for, I think it's like 2.5 seconds or something like that.
1.5 seconds. Yes.
1.5. Okay. So you snare them for 1.5 seconds, right? And then you get if you use your charge, you get 20% extra damage on your next ability. Okay. And then he also picked up some sort of movement increase talent.
Oh my.
So it was so funny.
Was the movement increase you get from the sword one? So you get, I think it's 35% increased movement speed with the sword if you hit the sword or something. I'm not sure.
What? That's amazing.
So if you sword somebody, you gain movement speed.
I believe so. I could be wrong, but I think that's it.
I think that
sounds awesome.
That sounds right, because dude, it was such a meme, dude. It was so funny. He won like 4 games in a row. Like, he snared the dude. He would hide behind corners. He would snare the dude, and then he paired it with slug. So if he needed to take a mid-range fight, he easily could. And he would also pair it with sniper rifle a good bit. It was so funny, dude. He just he wrecked so many people. It was hilarious.
If we're being fair, I really want to see that VOD, but I feel like if we're being fair, if you want to talk about things that don't belong in the game, I feel like a 1.5 second root is just so out of place in Realm. I could be wrong, but like we're used to barricade because of engineers have had barricade for forever.
Yeah.
But like the fact that you can actually root someone in place, it just seems like it doesn't.
Well, and that comes down to hard CC, and I've said this before to lots of people on stream. Hard CC does not belong in Realm. If they bring hard CC into this game, that will feel horrible for both parties, because the people getting rooted are going to feel absolutely helpless, and no one wants to play in a game for fun when they feel helpless. Like it's going back to Overwatch. Overwatch implemented a lot of hard CC and a lot of counters to things, and that ruined the game. A lot of people just quit because it wasn't fun to play. And I think if they did it in a Realm, if they start adding these hard CCs, we're going to see a lot less people returning to the game because it's not going to be fun.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like it. I don't think it belongs. Thor mentioned a couple of viable changes that they could make. Potentially, one of them was like instead of, and I see chat talking about the difference between root and snare, which whatever semantics, I guess. Whether or not you can fire back or whether or not you're actually in place, which I'm not sure if you can or not with this ability.
You can fire back.
Okay, all right. So I'm not sure like what the semantics would be there, but either way, I think we're all in agreement that it probably shouldn't belong. He said maybe a 70% slow or a 60% slow might be more viable. So I don't know, but it looked really strong. Like it was a very strong build, and it looked super fun.
like just exploit it while you can. To be honest, like play
Yeah.
a game or two. Like I did Exodia for fun when it was out, even though I thought it was broken. Like it gives you those memories that you're not gonna forget.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought that was fun. But what's cool about this is that it seems like all the classes have something that's really good. So it seems like there's viable options in all classes, and because Slug is so good right now, you could pair Slug with Fire Axe and just pick your fights carefully. And I think Warrior is still very strong. In the right hands, I think Warrior is still really good. So one of the things that I don't like this patch is the fact that, and going back to cooldowns, is the fact that because cooldowns are so oppressive right now, you literally cannot take any abilities, or at least maybe you should not take most abilities outside of your class, which I think is kind of a downer for me. I don't know what your guys' opinions are on this, but last patch it was fun for me to be like, Legendary Totem is totally viable on Hunter because you can kind of crouch behind it and tank shots and also heal up. Heals in general last patch were really strong. I don't think they're as strong this patch with cooldowns the way they are. So I don't know. I thought it was fun that I could take Soar on Warrior, and I thought it was fun that I could take some of these different abilities with different classes. Have you guys noticed that same thing where it's like that's way too oppressive to do that now? Plus, you have talents. You get talent perks from taking your own class abilities. So
Aero, you have to go first now.
Oh, I have to go first?
Yeah, because I've been taking the first slot every time.
Oh, sure, I'll do it. Well, for me, I've noticed it a lot. But the thing is, it's still viable early game, and that's the biggest thing. Is like if you find, let's say, you unbox a green totem, that's massive, even as a hunter or as a whatever, right? Even if you're not a mage, it's massive because you're gonna get that sustain. You're still gonna use that. Same thing with heal shout. Same thing with shield shout. I think it's kind of cool to have more exclusivity for abilities in regard to like particular classes, because now like late game, yeah, you're right, like having a totem as a hunter is not optimal, or having a heal shout on a mage is not going to be optimal. You want your specific class abilities, and I don't know, I like it. I think it's a good change overall, but I think as the cooldowns are incrementally decreased, we'll be seeing a lot more use late game and mid game from those abilities on other classes too, Monty. So I wouldn't worry too much.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%, Aero,
Yeah.
because I think it was a good compromise to say you can use a white Soar early game if you want, but you're gonna have to wait 40 seconds to use it again because you're not playing a mage.
Yeah.
And so I think this patch is really harboring the idea that you need to get into good close range combat. You can't just spam your abilities to get out of it. And I feel like overall it's a better way of making people like better at the game.
Yeah.
And if you want to use a sword, then play a mage. And if you don't like the mage's abilities, then maybe mage isn't the class for you.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, I think
I agree.
I think that's good thoughts. I think all that is good thoughts. The only thing I miss out of it is that there were so many creative combinations, like
That's
Yeah.
true.
like that was the only thing that I miss about it is like, so for example, if I really sucked at getting poked because I didn't peek well, I could take totem and it would help me, now maybe that is a crutch, okay, like, so sue me, but but it was kind of fun. And then I could do the legendary Soar on Warrior with sword. It was so fun.
It feels so good. That's how I won my first solo.
Yeah. Oh, it was so fun to do that. So I don't know. I do like the current system because there's a couple different builds you can go. I've literally only played Hunter right now this patch, so I'm gonna do it one class at a time. That's just how I do it. But
Same.
So, but I do like the fact that you could do like a crossbow build with pincushion, you know, and rely on that weapon more if, you know, dodge roll pincushion, if you would prefer that, or that you can take longbow, which is very strong. Like, I like that there's a lot of different builds you can go. I've seen people even on mage take stone staff instead of ice staff, which firestone staff I think is more like a mid to close range weapon now. But because slug is so versatile, you can kind of pair it with anything and you're still okay, you know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's very unique. Go ahead.
So on slug in particular, if you're running recurve, which gives you the bow damage for hunter, 100% slug is better than crossbow. It does more. It has higher DPS at same rarity.
Yeah.
It's more versatile. No fall off. It's easier to headshot with, in my opinion. And the gold version has no spread. It's the same as gold crossbow, but it doesn't have fire. It has the lightning. It allows you to peek corners even better. There's just no reason to take a crossbow over a slug. And Arbalest is probably the weakest class weapon in the game, even lower than bolt staff, in my opinion.
Okay, here's a question: do you take gray slug over gold arbalest?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
You take gray slug over gold arbalest.
Yeah.
On hunter.
That's what I thought. That's what I figured. On hunter, when you get 20% extra damage with with that weapon. Wow. Yep. Yeah. Feels bad.
Yeah,
it feels very bad.
Yeah.
Because the heavy crossbows seemed broken last patch too. Like, not broken, but like they didn't do enough damage for being a class weapon.
Yeah.
Well, and if anything, they're worse this patch because what they did is they increased the weapon speed of a lot of items, and then they left heavy crossbow the same. The only thing they changed was the name. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What should we do with this weapon? I don't know. Let's call it an arbalest.
Come call it an arbalest.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's good for today. We've got a lot we've been doing.
We said we touched every weapon. We didn't say we did something significant for every weapon.
Yeah. Dude.
I was going to ask if... sorry, go ahead. First.
No, go. You go first.
I was going to say just... we've talked about weapons and cooldowns and changes that they've done to kind of ability-based, like the Royale that it was before. What do you guys feel about also removing the buffs that would come with the legendary versions of movement abilities?
You mean like elementals, or what do you mean the buffs?
The movement ability. So like you'd get mainly movement speed. So like the soar for the gold soar was like super duper fast. Which it might actually still be fast. I don't know. But then also like if you had a gold blink, you'd have movement speed. Gold dodge roll, you could outrun a mount.
Oh, and they took that out, right?
Yeah, they took out all the movement speed increases that you would get after using the gold movement ability.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I think it was to make way for the talents. Because they didn't want I actually like it because I don't think purple and gold rarities should have too much disparity. And what I mean by that is when you forge something and the only option is purple or gold, having a huge difference of gold to purple just makes the game have more RNG, and it makes like a possible better player lose to a worse player because the gold item is way better. You know what I mean? And like he didn't forge it and this person happened to. And I don't like that. I think a smaller disparity between the two rarities is definitely better. But for the actual movement speed like increases, they did remove them for the talent system. Like for example, now soar, you can't get the or actually, Ghost Walk's a better example. You can get the Ghost Walk speed now. You can get the speed back. It used to have the mage passive double duration, but the gold version had increased movement speed while using it.
Okay.
And now you can use the talent system to get that movement speed back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is balanced. There are a few things that are like that were cut out. Ghost Walk used to have, longer duration and have the movement speed because you were a mage.
Yes.
And that was just absolutely busted. Mage got the hardest nerf on movement this patch for sure.
Which they should have.
They should have.
Yeah.
At least so, mind you. Yes. I think we tested it.
Yeah.
Gold Soar last patch with Mage, you could pretty much cross Northport. So
it was amazing. I loved Gold Soar.
Yeah.
Especially with a movement rune where you could just literally fly to every I would catch every box that fell just by like 1.5 soars.
I remember seeing a couple streams where people were like, "Can I fly up into the air?" And then by the time I fall down, this cooldown be up before I hit the ground. And it was like real close. Like I mean it was like real close. So that's just funny. But
it was insane, man. It was insane. You could almost fly forever if you went straight up.
Yeah. So now they choose between cooldown reduction. It seems the two viable options for mage are you choose either between reduced cooldown on soar, your movement ability, or you have 100% extra duration of soar. So they double the duration of soar.
Yes.
Those are the two talent options, I think.
I think that the most viable is definitely the duration, but because you're pretty much only going to use the reset fight thing once per fight anyway.
Yeah.
Like, so I think it's smarter to go for the duration so you can ensure you can get away, get that healing totem off, reset the fight, and then go back in, right?
Yeah.
I think, although, and I want to mention, if you guys noticed, last patch, I forget the exact number, Mage had like a 10% or 20% cooldown reduction on every ability, right? They didn't get cooldown reduction on Mage abilities. This patch, they get a 50% cooldown on everything they have. That's a Mage ability. Basic ability and movement ability.
Okay.
So proportionally, they actually are better off with cooldown, even though it's extremely long still.
Yeah.
But overall, it still feels very slow.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, okay, so I wanted to lead this into gameplay and time to kill because they obviously, like, all this kind of fits together into how the game plays out right now. The time to kill is very high because they up the DPS of everything.
Or you mean very low?
Yes, excuse me. Very, very low. So you can die very quickly, okay? Much faster than last patch. It seemed like last patch, like a lot of the damage that you were seeing, healing was very prioritized, I would say. If you were a warrior or you were a mage, it was very difficult to fight a warrior or a mage with legendary healing shout, legendary totem, which now with this current patch, I feel like that's kind of gone away, which in a way is a good thing. But at the same time, it's difficult because now we're running into this issue where there's so much DPS everywhere. Certain weapons don't really matter anymore. Like revolver, like rip revolver, dude. Who's taking purple, even gold revolver over a green slug? Nobody. Like
nobody.
Yeah, like nobody is. Okay. So like there's certain weapons that aren't even viable anymore. I would also just say that it's like it just feels bad to be caught out in the open, because if you're caught out in the open and your movement cooldown is not up yet, you're dead. Like you get sniped, it's like one more shot and like you're dead. That's why longbow feels so oppressive right now, especially because it has a frost elemental on it and you don't have a movement ability up. You're dead. Like there's nothing you can do. So that just feels bad. Like the gameplay has just changed a lot. Like what have you guys noticed with that, and what do you guys think about that?
Well, with gameplay, you're right. It's definitely much faster. The TTK is extremely low now, with these bursty weapons. I think weapons, you mentioned revolver. So there are definitely weapons now that are better at certain points in time in the game. Revolver used to be sort of a weapon that was good early to mid game, and if you had a gold one, it was usable late game, but there were better options. Now it's just only an early game weapon, in my opinion. I think it's actually the second best early game weapon. I think Slug by far is king, but yeah. I think if there's a mountain, I think Slug's at the peak, and Revolver's like almost at the bottom, and then all the other weapons are just at the floor.
Yeah. No,
except for maybe shotgun, but
which is okay. Like, I mean, I miss Revolver. I really do, because I love Revolver. I mean, it's maybe still serves a unique purpose in the fact that it's hit scan.
Right.
And it's pretty good early game. I would definitely take Revolver over, like, Revolver shotgun until you find Slug, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I definitely agree. There's this huge gap between the guns, which I'm glad they started with SMG and AR and the automatic weapons bad. Like, I'm glad they started there. Like, thankfully, they started there.
Yes. Yeah. Those are weapons, especially with console players in the game, and the shortage of armor. If they were good, and console gamers had the aim assist,
Mm-hmm.
and with bots everywhere spraying you around with hit scan weapons, that would have been horrible if they did high DPS. There would just be actually no armor in the game.
Yes. So, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure how I like it, to be honest. The early game feels rough, and especially in solos.
Early game is the worst part of this patch.
Yeah.
That's what I will say, that matter of factly. That's just how I feel. It's absolutely the worst part of the patch, because you have to play so much more safe. Like, when I'm on stream, right, I want to chill and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a majority of people that play want to chill and have fun, because that's why they're playing, right? Not everyone's out here to be, the very best player and try hard the entire game every. So I think when you're starting out and you drop, right, and even a bot, it doesn't even matter if it's a bad player. If it's a bot, has a slug, they pretty much have aimbot. And if you pick up, a revolver or a shotgun, you're going to get chunked. And that bot's going to do so much more damage to you than you will do to him. And you'll probably still kill the bot, but then you're like mortally wounded, because now you have no health pots, you have no healing items, or if you do, they're on a very high cooldown. And then someone else who hasn't fought anyone happens to find a slug or even a revolver and just picks you off, right? It doesn't matter how good of a player you are. It doesn't matter. It's just, it feels very RNG in the beginning of the game, right?
Yeah.
And that's my biggest issue, my biggest gripe.
So, Lee, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I actually really like shotgun early game, just because it seems to hit more consistently now. That said, it still doesn't hit 100% consistently, so sometimes it'll do like literally 680 damage in one shot, and then the next time it'll do like 185 or 200 or something like that. But I actually like it more early game, just because if someone has a slug, I know that I can down them in 2 shots, and it's going to take them at least like 3. Or, well, I have the vigor, so I have 1800 health when I land. So
yeah,
which is massive, by the way.
Yeah, the extra 300,
I love that talent.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So, but anyways, but I agree. I think early game it's kind of rough, especially when you're only getting those weird, like you guys were saying, the weirder weapons out of chests, and then a bunch of people land around you and get a slug.
Yeah, the RNG in the early game is rough.
Yeah, I also feel like too that the one thing is the mental barrier, that when I'm getting shot and I feel like the flurry of bullets, even though it's just an AR and it's not really doing as much damage, mentally I feel like I'm taking more damage. So if I don't like turn and try to apply pressure quickly, I could start to run away and end up taking a bunch of free damage.
No, I 1000% agree with that. The first thing I heard somebody say when I was watching the patch release at work, which also, hi-res, please stop releasing patches while I'm at work. It's like like I have to wait like 8 extra hours to play. Okay. But anyway, the first thing I heard was like this massive barrage of sound of the machine gun bullets hitting you. Like, if they could turn that volume down just a touch, because it really doesn't hurt you as bad as what you think it is, because the sound is so oppressive,
Yeah. But no, that's definitely the case. I feel it too. And it might be like, it might just be the sound coupled with the visual like red effect on the edge of the screen.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just rough. It feels like it's the same thing with the bolt staff.
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing. Yep.
Yeah. You feel like you're taking so much damage. You look down, you're like, wow, this guy's like blowing on me. So
yeah. Yeah. So one other thought that I had that I wish they would add, and actually maybe I'll bring this up in a little bit, but because we're talking about time to kill, right? I'm gonna jump. Hold on, I'm jumping around here. I want to jump back to time to kill, because I really wanted to get your guys' thoughts on ways that they can fix time to kill before we get to like changes you want to see in the game. And Lee, are we gonna take questions tonight? Do we want to drop some stuff in Discord?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. I'll post
maybe like a couple of them.
Yeah, we'll take a couple questions tonight because we're running out of time real quickly here. But I'm going to post this link in Discord, and then we're going to talk about time to kill some more. If you guys want to come on the show, we'll bring you on air. But you got to hop in this Discord channel, okay? And you can post your questions in the text channel called Call in Topics, okay? So you can do that, and then if you sit in the waiting room, Lee will test your mic. We'll just like hop in, say hello, test your mic, and then we can bring you on air. So if you have questions or you want to drop a hot take on, you think there needs to be, you think they should buff SMG or something, or you think they should increase time to kill or lower time to kill or something, then hop in there, drop that question in the text chat, and then we will try and get you on the show. So anyway, I want to get your guys' opinions before we really talk about it, but like, what do you guys think would be a good way to approach fixing the time to kill issue, or do you think it's fine?
Well, I think the biggest change right now is they increase the amount of the refire rate, which is basically just the attack speed, right? Of of a lot of very, very strong guns. And then they nerfed the damage, but they didn't nerf the damage enough. So the TTK is extremely low now because of that.
Yeah.
Another thing is there are a lot of bursty abilities and talents you can take, like, for example, 700 damage blast arrow, or what's another one? The frost staff, like the extra damage on the frost staff, just being all the damage increases of these things make it so that the game feels extremely bursty, and having the reason vigor is so good is because of this, right? Having that extra 300 HP is like a safeguard. You won't just get one shot or something by a bow or a sniper.
Agreed.
Yeah. So ways to fix this, they need all the weapons in the patch notes. They increase the refire rate of. They need to nerf the damage of more. Yeah. And that means slug, that means bow, that means axe, that means frost staff. There are quite a few of them. So it's just everything does too much damage for the fire speed right now.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah, so this will squash damage a little bit. What do you guys think about armor pots, okay, and runes? Like, oh man, I don't even know. Like,
I was literally gonna say, like, I think the simplest fix would, because they don't plan on increasing the rate of armor pots, and I'm actually okay with that, but I think they should just increase then the base of they're talked about doing combination pots as well soon too, so maybe there's going to be like a hybrid, like half armor, half health pot or something. But I think that what if there was like a talent that you could pick instead of vigor or healing over time that split your health pots in half, so that would do half health, half armor? Like, that would be sick. And I think what that would solve is the initial all right, well, at least I know getting into a fight, I have full armor every time. That's a little different. I don't know if they plan on doing that, but I actually have a counter question, and not to non sequitur. Oh, well, I guess it's not really, but the question is, if TTK went up more, would that mean that the matches would last longer?
Oh, I don't know.
Yes. So not
probably.
Well, actually, the thing is, it's hard to say. It's hard to say if they would last longer or there would just be more people at the end circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, because like I think if end circle, there'd be more people, and then there'd be a big fight and everyone dies. And then right now there's just fewer people, and it gets in a big fight and everyone dies. So,
but here's what's funny is that with TTK being where it is now, third partying feels worse because you have nothing to counteract it. So if someone else, you're fighting someone else, they use their movement offensive ability, you use your movement offensive ability and you kill them, and then someone else comes in and finishes you off because you have no cooldowns, you have no escape, you haven't been able to heal up yet. Like, it feels terrible. Like, that feels bad. So like, that doesn't feel fair or like competitive. Right. Like, you want an even playing field as much as possible. Now, it is a BR, so third partying is going to happen. But say you elongate that fight, and you fix the cooldown issue, technically you could make an argument that third partying would be worse because people will hear the fights. It's going to last a long time. People will show up to try and capitalize.
That's actually a good counter argument.
Yeah, like you could technically argue that. But the whole point is that what feels bad about third partying is the fact that you can't do anything about it, not the fact that third partying occurs.
It's the helplessness.
Yes, it's the fact that it's like, I just killed this guy. I should be rewarded for that, not punished because I have no cooldowns. So like there's
Right.
sort of this like rotating thing here where it's like if you bring more armor and all of a sudden we go from what is it 1500 health to 3000 with armor, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Or more.
Yeah, or more. I actually can't remember. Chat, help us out here. 1500 or 3000 with full armor and full health, I think.
Well, it's eight. Well, wait, what are you? It's 1500 base health and 1500 base armor.
Yes.
Yeah. I was talking. It could be 3300 if you have the
Oh,
vigor.
the talent.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so it
Yeah.
could be 3300. Yeah, that's correct. So you have full health, full armor. It feels better for you when someone else comes in because then you have more time for your cooldowns to come up, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that's the fix, but I definitely feel like the TTK would feel better and the third partying would feel better if you felt like you had more of a chance there. I don't know. I'm not sure, but yeah. My one big sorry, go ahead.
I think that's one way to look at it. I think that's a possible fix. Another thing they could do, just in general, is just lower the cooldowns, right? Because
Yeah.
that's the issue. It's like if you're a talented player and you use a cooldown to ensure a kill on someone, and then a worse player comes along and they have their cooldown, but you're stuck out in the open, there's nothing you can do. If you have a lower cooldown, the better player will be able to stall for enough time to actually outplay the other player, which is what we're looking at. So I think, honestly, I think it's just a cooldown issue. I don't think it's an armor issue per se. But you make a fair point. I think that could be a way to solve it as well.
Yeah.
No, but that's actually. I mean, I wasn't thinking necessarily the third party aspect. I was more thinking just the initial time to kill in like a 1v1 scenario.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that wouldn't resolve, like you're saying, the third party issue, which technically when assassins used to get health back from, chickening someone, I guess you could argue that was more along the lines of something that would help a third party situation. I don't know, but
yeah.
Oh, and something else I really wanted to touch on tonight about that, about TTK especially, and I think this is a major factor a lot of people kind of sweep under the rug, are runes. And runes are even more massive than talents, and they're complete RNG.
Thank you. Oh my God, preach it, dude. Keep going.
Oh man, runes, they really get me upset because there's no way to tell what runes people have. They're complete RNG. The weapon damage 15%. That's the same as the recurved weapon talent. It gives up 20% on crossbow and arbalest for a 15% boost for the bow, and then but you're giving up 20% damage on two weapons for a rune you could just find.
That's good. Keep it coming, man.
It's just I really, really dislike runes.
Preach it, Aero.
I think the whole system either needs a huge nerf, just a blanket across the board hammer to all things, like maybe 5% weapon damage increase, or like something like that, like a huge nerf, 50% cooldown, maybe a 10%, 15% cooldown. They're way too strong for such an RNG element.
Thank you.
And they either need to be sacked, completely removed, or they need to be hard nerfed.
Bring that word, dude.
Slow clap in chat, please.
I'm just not a fan, personally.
Aero, the people's champ.
Dude, you just like put in the words like my exact feeling about this whole thing, okay? Like, and the OP runes right now, like when we talk about runes, we're kind of more talking about specific runes, right? We're talking about right now we're talking about pretty much 3 specific runes. Because the other ones are good, and I actually do agree with you on maybe the other one. I don't know if we disagree on this, but 3 specific runes right now are insanely overpowered, okay? Armor repair, passive repair, ability cooldown, movement cooldown, right? Would we agree about that?
Yeah, and I think lifesteal is also up there.
Yeah.
Weapon damage.
And weapon damage and headshot are both up there as well.
Yeah. So, like, this is the point. This is what I say all the time. Whenever I'm in someone's chat and we're talking about things they should fix, like, RNG is going to be a part of the game, but RNG should be something that gives you like, it should help complement what you're doing in game. It shouldn't dictate such a huge advantage, okay? So,
absolutely.
So this is the biggest issue I have with Realm Royale right now. Like, the biggest issue. This is what feels bad in Realm Royale right now. And I don't know why they have it set up like this. And I don't know if they even know it's an issue. So if you fight, you lose armor, okay? And if you lose armor, you're at a disadvantage. So say this is, I'm stealing from Idiot Mouse. Say little Timmy here, hops into the game with the ability right now to kill 2 people, forge, so much stuff because he has decreased shard count, decreased shard cost on all of his abilities. He gets, a decent amount of loot. Okay. And then he pops out a passive repair out of a chest, and then he hides in a building the whole game, and he has 2 kills. Okay. And he runs around getting health pots and armor pots out of these chest things. Okay. So like, let's say he gets that RNG, but I'm running around and I get 10 to 11 kills because I'm fighting people. Now I have no armor. Okay. So I had a 60,000 plus game, and little Timmy's hiding in a house. And when it comes down to the final 3, I have a severe disadvantage to little Timmy. And he, like, even though I had technically like a better game. Okay. So I hate that. Like, that bugs the crap out of me. Like, I cannot disagree more with that kind of a system.
And that's that's an exaggeration, because obviously, if you get 11 kill games, you're also going to have more like legendary weapons and abilities and things. So you'll have an advantage in that way. But you're right. Like, having armor so scarce de-incentivizes fighting.
Yes.
And there is incentive to fight currently for shards, but there's also that trade-off, because late game you're not going to want to fight. Like, so early to mid game, you want to be fighting. There's incentive. You want to be getting better things. Once you have better things, there is no reason to fight.
Exactly.
You want to be hiding at that point.
That's tourney play,
which you can get off of your first forge now. Like, that's kind of the point that I was making, is that with the way that their talents currently work, you can essentially get an end game loadout. If we're comparing patch 14 to last patch, you can get an end game loadout in 1 forge.
Absolutely.
So there's sort of this element where it's like, I get 4 kills, I forge all my abilities, I'm kitted, and I hide. And that's how you can win games, which is sort of like, at this point, players now are no longer playing to win games. They're just playing to get good fights, because there's an element there where the game does not reward you if you get high kill games. Like, it doesn't. It does not reward you for sweeping the field and killing a bunch of people.
Well, technically, you can level up your battle pass and stuff faster.
Well, that's true. But you know what I mean? Like, an incentive in terms of winning the game. Like, that's sort of like I don't know why you would do that. Like,
but the thing is it's kind of like the Smash Bros. Kind of paradox, where the most, support that the game gets tends to be from the casual community, because they just outnumber the competitive community.
Yeah.
So they want to cater to those people, but those are the people who are going to give up the game a lot quicker, and the competitive community sticks around for forever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the newer games got slower and slower, to the point where people just didn't even count them as competitive games anymore, because they were only catering to like casual groups. But actually, in the latest Smash, as an example, they actually did a little bit more of a hybrid. So it just comes down to, like, for instance, like the new one is a little bit quicker than the older ones were, that people stopped playing. So the question comes down to, like, whether or not Hi-Rez, or I guess it's Heroic Leap Games, wants to cater to a competitive audience, or if they more care about just making it be more of a casual type game, I guess. I don't know. It's got an official esports company, so I'm guessing they're going to find a way to balance it out a little more. But
and I think the removal or nerf of runes is a huge step in the right direction regarding TTK as well, and really the armor scarcity problem, because if people are just doing less damage or don't have like massive advantages with like a passive repair or an armor potion rune, then like that's gonna fix things. That's gonna make things better. It's not gonna fix everything, but it's gonna be a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I would just...
go ahead. I was just going to say, passive repair is so strong right now that you should either give it to everybody or just take it out of the game, please.
Yeah.
Like, please.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead, Lee.
No, that's yeah. And I was just going to say that the other thing is I remember them specifically mentioning multiple times how they did want people to be able to just run around the map and get a bunch of stuff, because I guess the only good argument to that is what happens if you're having a bad game and like a forge is taken and you don't have like the gear to fight that person, and the zones closing or whatever, but then you happen to get the weapon you really needed. Maybe runes aside, you happen to get the weapon you really needed, and you end up winning that game. I guess that's the only benefit of not having to forge and like having all this RNG in the boxes and stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't know.
But it does cater to camping people who don't fight at all. So I don't know. It just depends.
Yeah.
But I totally understand both sides.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, here's my dream scenario, okay? And this is for me. I play this game somewhat regularly. I don't feel like I'm like competitive in the sense that like I get wrecked by some people. Like I've gotten, and which is fun. Like I enjoy that. Like I enjoy that the community is small enough that it's like I hop into a game, I see Galayan, I see Aero, I see Gentle, I see Mouse. I see some of these players, and I'm like, I know that guy's good because I've seen him in the community tournaments. Like I know this is going to be a good fight. And so I look forward to that because when I get into the top 5, I play harder those games because it's like I want to get into the top 5 because I know I'm going to face this guy in the end. Like that's fun. Like that's exciting. There's a progression there. And I feel like if they kind of played on this area of like if they had, I know we don't have the player base yet, but if they had some sort of MMR system, which I don't know, that's a whole nother topic. So I don't necessarily want to get into that completely this episode, but if they had some system where they could delineate between the casuals who are just playing and they want to see wins, so they're not having to face these monsters that have played the game for a year already. I don't know. I'm not sure what the solution is there, but I hate the fact that it's like the better players are still just rough. Like I wish that it was like if you got a kill, maybe you receive 2 armor pots. I think that's the best solution I've seen. I've seen to armor. Like I don't know. Like it's so hard to fix this issue other than them just give you more armor. Because
I think if you killed someone, you would automatically get at least 1. That would be a good step. Because if someone gets 10 kills, that's 10 pots, right? So 2 would be too much, I think. But 1, I think that's fair.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's the best solution I've seen so far because it just feels bad when it's like the thing that, and I heard Mal say this today, is that the game should feel like when you're at the end of the game, like you've made it to the end, you've made it to the final 2 fight, you should be completely kitted. Like you shouldn't be lacking in any area. That was the best way I've ever heard it described is, and Idiot Mouse put it into perspective. If you're in the final 2 fight, you should expect that guy to have full legendaries, full armor, full health. Like he made it. He deserves that. That's what he earned. Whereas now it's not the case. That's not the case right now.
Right.
So, and I love that explanation, and I think that makes a lot of sense.
And sorry, one thing Ash just said, I want to touch on it because it's important, but it's important only it's important that runes get nerfed while this happens. He said maybe having runes drop from kills will be a step forward toward balancing them, making them more available, right? So yes, that's a good idea, but it's not a good idea for how they are now because if everyone got runes that they wanted, everyone would have weapon damage, TTK would be even lower, right? And so what they need to do, like I said, blanket, just hammer to the anvil, nerf to everything, and then maybe they can drop the runes as well. I think that'd be a good change too.
Yeah.
It might incentivize killing too, because you'll get that armor potion on drop and you'll get the runes. So, little Timmy camping in the corner is no longer going to be at the advantage late game.
Yes.
What if you forged an armor piece that when you equipped, it gave you the same perk? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So I don't know. This is really good discussion, guys. Like it's been good. We've already gone over like 15 more minutes than what we normally do. I don't know. Let's just go like quick overall grade for the patch. What would you give the patch? Like F through A or whatever. What do you guys think?
I would give the patch. I'd give the patch a B- to a B because, but the thing is that grade is going to increase as Hi-Res is fixing these things that are wrong with the patch.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think it started out B- C+.
Okay.
And then right now, like it was definitely a C+ when it first came out with the chicken speed, with all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's gotten up to like a B- to toward a B at this point.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of bugs to fix. There are still a lot of things that need to be altered and changed that we've mentioned tonight. But overall, I'd say a B.
Yeah.
B-.
What about you?
Yeah,
Lee?
I'd say the same. I would have given it a B just because I wasn't good enough at the game before the patch. I'm still kind of like a pleb, so I don't have that high level perspective. I was actually honestly mostly excited about the content.
Yeah.
Just because as I'm grinding, having more skins and stuff just makes it more fun of a process.
Yeah.
So I would have given it like a B plus, a B to a B plus, and then after the hot fixes, it was just kind of like, oh, this is even better. So yeah. What about you, Monty?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think I give it the same. I mean, I think I give it a B. I was super hyped for it. I'm still hyped on it. I think there was immediate backlash when it first came out and a lot of criticism. And I'm like, I don't know why everyone's so upset. Like, this is still fun. This is still the same Realm Royale. I think we've kind of covered most of it. If they could fix armor, nerf some of the weapons, nerf runes or remove runes, I think we have an amazing game. They have an amazing foundation this patch. Such an amazing, I just want to commend Hi-Rez because I'm sure they hear a lot of hate. I just want to say, good job, because I know their team is small and there's a lot. This was a lot. So I know that some of these guys put in extra hours for sure to get this out there and are still working hard to get this right. So it's one thing for us as gamers to be like, this is our game and we're passionate about this, without realizing that there's a whole team of developers that probably worked overtime in order just to get this launched and, took time away from their families so that they could get this out there. So I just want to say good job to those guys because, I do feel like it was a huge undertaking. They're doing a good job with it. So I think the foundation is here. I don't know. The last thing that I would like to end with before, I give you guys your final chance to give your closing thoughts. A couple things that I wish they would add in future patches. I hope they add a kill screen so you know where you took damage from. I really think that would be a quality of life improvement for the game, is when you die, you see how you took damage. They haven't like League of Legends where you can tab and see what abilities did how much damage to you. I know they have it in Paladins as well. So I would love to see that implemented in the game. We obviously want a viable ranking system that actually makes sense, and I know they're working on that. One small thought is, with headshots being the way they are right now, I wish you could hear when you get headshot.
Yeah. Okay.
So you make an additional sound when you get headshot, so you're actually low, because there are times where you're like, sometimes TTK just feels bad and sometimes TTK is actually bad. And I think a lot of times people get confused and they're like, this is OP, but you don't realize he has headshot rune and he has this and he hit an amazing shot.
Right.
So if they could add some sort of cues into the game so you realize that you're taking extra damage, I think that would be helpful.
I think Overwatch does it right. When you get a certain percentage of your HP, there's a vocal sound cue where the character goes oh, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And so I think if you reach a certain percentage HP, that should probably happen in Realm too.
Yeah.
As on top of the red flashing that already happens.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's so quick that you don't even notice red flashing when you're fighting somebody.
Insta chicken.
Yeah.
I'm usually just instantly a chicken most of the time.
Yeah.
Most of my time playing Realm is as a chicken, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Chasing chickens.
Any final closing thoughts from you guys, what you would want to see future patches, address?
And also mention your best class, what you think the best class is for fun.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a no-brainer for me.
I mean, come on.
Obviously, Warrior. No, I'm kidding. I think Hunter for me. Needless to say, it's just the top tier class. I think Bow is extremely powerful. There's no reason to not run Hunter. There's so much utility, so much strength. There's no point in running anything else if you have to choose, other than maybe Mage for solos. I think Mage and Hunter are both the strongest right now for solos. If I had to rank it, I'd probably say Hunter, and then Mage, Warrior are in the same situation. Warrior, you just need to have more of the late game perks or talents that a lot of people don't have yet. And then Assassin is extremely powerful in the hands of someone that's very skillful, but it feels clunky. And I think overall I think the abilities and weapons of other classes are just better.
Yeah.
Some closing remarks about what I think they should change. I would love to see a new MMR system, which we talked about earlier, like an actual one. With like solid ranks and ranks that aren't just okay, I got 50 wins therefore I'm master.
Yeah.
And then maybe like a stats screen that shows all of the stats that we look up on these third-party websites.
That's amazing.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, why not just implement that in the game? That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's what Rocket League does.
I would love that.
Yeah, because when I played Rocket League, there was just a stat screen. I could look up all kinds of stuff.
Shows your win rate, shows your rank, it's public. That'd be awesome.
That'd be amazing, yeah. So that instead of just going on Realm Tracker, you can be like, how did that last match go?
Exactly.
Or that's actually that's like a meta idea I never even would have thought about. That would make me so happy. Just like a simple little, hey, not a huge patch this week, but we added this, and it'd be like, what? This is amazing.
Does Fortnite have an MMR system?
No idea.
I've never played Fortnite, so I don't know. Does anyone know in chat if Fortnite has an MMR system? Obviously, League of Legends and MOBAs do.
Fortnite, I would say probably does not, because I think the whole point is just if you're the best, you win.
Chat saying no, it does not. I think that would be kind of really interesting to see an actual MMR system. Obviously, Overwatch has one. I like that aspect because you're playing against people of equal skill level. I think that evens the playing field and also gives you perspective in terms of where you're at. It also gives you a reason to grind. Okay, you don't have to just grind for skins. You can grind for like pride,
yeah, exactly, get that ranking.
Yeah, so I don't know, I think that would be dope if they did that. I hope we get the player base to do that. I think that's
I was gonna say that's the only problem is everything is I think even their apprehension regarding implementing the private lobbies too is kind of like, well, if you are on private lobbies, then that's less players that are going to be in the lobbies.
Yeah,
right.
But
yeah,
I mean, I kind of agree with everything that you guys have said. I think the best class obviously is the hunter. I feel like the bow, with how quickly you can pull it back now, like I've seen people run a sniper bow for fun in the last patch, but it was kind of like, I don't have a quick weapon now. But now it's like bow pulls back so fast, it's like I don't even care. You can like short range a bow and it's insane.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But and I actually have a lot of fun playing hunter. It's almost like what I want assassin to be is the hunter. But I chose assassin specifically because it's always like the hardest to play, and I was always dependent on other weapons when I played the other classes. So I feel like with assassin, it's kind of like I'll do the hardest thing so that when I get stuck with another class, it feels way better.
Well, and you're good at it too, dude. You're a really good assassin. So
thanks, Monty.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I think in terms of changes, I agree with it. What we've said the whole time. I mean, the little things are. We forgot to mention in terms of sound. I love how they updated the sounds for like queuing and stuff. I don't know. If they did that every match, it'd be kind of cool.
Yep.
Just to match the theme, but I would say just because you guys did enough of the gameplay stuff, I feel like you guys covered almost like everything gameplay wise. I would say some of the other things are like get more hunter skins, because I feel bad for hunters right now.
Oh yeah. I'm still using the old one from last patch. That's just what I'm doing.
Exactly.
I mean, the thing is with hunter, I don't feel bad for hunters right now because of the bow. But as far as content, I think the dark elf skin is just a top tier skin that will always be used. It's so good. But yeah, I think there could be new better content for hunters as well. The battle pass skins weren't very good, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
and add more just add more, like I would say 2 that would be cool. It's just, as I'm sure they're gonna do this soon, but like adding more mounts, because I feel like those are more versatile sometimes than the actual skins, because sometimes I'll set my skin and completely forget it, but I feel like with the mount, like I always notice when people have a cool mount.
Oh yeah.
You're just trying to get that tiger mount, aren't you?
I want the tiger mount. But I guess, all right, to be fair though, but in terms of actual changes though, I would love for there to be a talent adjustment for the ones that are kind of like underpowered, because like how come a hunter can add 400 damage to a blast arrow, but I can't add 400 damage to a conch bomb?
That's a good point.
Or however much it is, the additional damage that is, things like that. I guess you can't. They don't intend to have them be that close together. So I'm not expecting it to actually mirror the hunter, but adding headshot damage just seems like a lame perk. And then, but there are some other cool perks, I guess. But yeah, just adjusting the talent so that it's more, the utility makes sense.
Yeah.
and it's not just like some of the talents just seem like throwaway talents, like one additional shard per thing sharded.
Yeah. Oh, I just thought of one. You just brought up something that I just thought of real quick. One additional one that I think they should do literally next patch is you should be able to change your talents in the blimp.
Yes. Oh, that's a perfect example. Yes. Thank you.
Like, you should be able to change your talents in the blimp. Like, there's a flash of the screen before the blimp takes off. You should be able to do that in the blimp, because you're waiting there forever. At least being able to look at your talents would make sense, right?
Feels like it takes so long in the blimp.
If they want to have that 145-minute wait time, I think they need to show the blimp's path so that you can preemptively strategize where to drop.
That too.
And
That's
then
good.
also have that change with being able to change your talents out, and skins even too. But that's the cherry on top.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just talking about your talents for now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, guys. Well, that's been a really good podcast. So much just to talk. I mean, this went 2 hours because we just have so much, and we didn't even uncover one of the topics I was going to talk about. So yeah. So yeah, that was really good. I'm going to leave you with a question, and maybe we'll talk about this at the next podcast. One of the things they've done and things that people need to keep in mind with this current setup, and as they make changes, if they adjust cooldowns or don't adjust cooldowns, is I think that Hi-Rez is keeping like a broad range of people in mind while making this game, and it's difficult to please everyone. So I think they've done a really good job of creating a foundation for that. And I also think that they're balancing things better for squads now with 10Ks coming out, because that will help with a lot of publicity for the game. So I think this patch definitely has increased the balance in squads, which is fun. It's fun to play squads.
The tournament was so much fun.
Yes. And so it's better. It's better than totems and healing shouts everywhere. Like, it's just better. Squads is by, like, bar none better. So if you're having a hard time in solos and you're feeling frustrated, get your friends together, go play squads, go play duos, because they're infinitely better this patch with the current setup. And so I think Hi-Rez is keeping that in mind, because I see a lot of people get frustrated in a certain mode, and it's like, listen, you have to keep the huge picture in mind, not just your one individual experience. Sorry, that's my small little rant before we end, because I wanted to touch base on that and we didn't get a chance to talk about it.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, so keep that in mind, you guys out there, if you're playing, because I think this is a really good patch. I'm really excited for the future of Realm Royale. So, well, thanks so much, Aero, for being here, dude. Your insight is awesome. We want to have you back because we want to do some specific podcasts about, like, each class. So we want to have you back to come talk about being a hunter. So I hope you had a good time, because we'd really love for you to come back. So
hey, I would love that. You know, it's been a pleasure to be here. So much fun. You know, that's one of the things I enjoy the most on my streams, is explaining my viewpoint, why I view certain things the way that I do, and what I think is best. So I encourage everyone to challenge themselves to think about why they do things in the game rather than just what they do.
Yeah. Where can people find you at? And do you have a stream schedule, or, you know,
I do.
Okay.
So you can find me at twitch.tv/Aero_TTV. It's on the screen. You guys can see it. And my streaming schedule is Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 7 p.m. EST to 1 a.m. EST. And I will stream, and sometimes we'll look for a bonus stream on some other days as well. But for the most part, that's the schedule I stick to, 100%.
Okay, and you're on Twitter as well, at Aero TTV. Is that correct?
Yes, no underscore on the Twitter one. It's Aero TTV.
All right. Everyone go follow him. Drop him a follow on Twitter and on Twitch. He's one of my favorite streamers. I love hanging out in his chat, so definitely go do that. How about you, Comp?
Love you, Aero. Aero was the first person to explain peeking in depth to me. I had asked other streamers, but it wasn't until I was like, all right, he's using flare and I can see him doing this well. And he was like, all right. And he broke it down for me. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a Twitch channel as well. It's same on the screens, CompTV Lee, and same for my Twitter. And I also have a YouTube channel. So where I teach budget PC building. If anyone's interested, if you have a console, sell it and build a PC. I'm just kidding.
Go watch all of his videos. What's funny is people don't know that Comp has like a 30K subscriber YouTube channel. So go check that out, because it's really dope. Like really, really, really dope. So, and obviously tune in to his Twitch stream screams, because they're pretty amazing. So
It's usually me and Monty doing duos.
yeah, which is like the best. So, and yeah, I'm the host. I'm the Monty Mole. I just appreciate everybody coming out. This is my channel. I am so thankful that we've got some support. I just want to give some shout outs, like huge raid from Thor, huge raid from Gentle. Thank you for the follow, Zard. J-Bell, thank you for the raid, Zard. True Logic TV, Static Shock, for the bits, Fuzzy Zebra, Gregovich, Crippler, Little Raisin, AMF100. We got so many hosts tonight, dude. We got like 7 hosts tonight. I don't even know. Like, I'm just so grateful for the community for supporting this podcast. I wasn't sure how it was going to go when we decided to do it, and it's just been amazing. So I hope you guys are enjoying the content. We are now on YouTube as well, so you can check us out. Just YouTube Realm Roundtable. We've been uploading our VODs there, so you guys can check out old episodes if you didn't get a chance to catch it live. We like to do segments in the show where we invite viewers onto the show to ask questions and to hop into and to call in live, so you can actually get in Discord with us and ask your question and we talk about it. So we hope to incorporate that more in the next episode as interest arises. So please come and check this out live so you can get involved. So anyway, thanks everybody for coming out. Thanks so much. We really appreciate you. We'll see you next time.
Yep.